What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Crypto for You. Some crazy things are happening. Bitcoin has fallen, and there's so much news happening in the world that the question is now, will we continue to fall, or is there some hope for Bitcoin? That's exactly what I want to talk about, and let's not waste any time and go straight into the charts. But before we do that, I just want to say I am a little bit sick, so this video might be a little bit different. Might be a little bit quick, but I still want to give you guys this video because this is super important. So let's get straight into the charts. So as you guys can see, since our last video, a lot of things have happened. Bitcoin has risen all the way up to $27,500 before falling all the way back down to 26,200. I was talking about this level right over here and the fact that if we break this huge support level at $28,000 straight, we could see a rise to $30,000. But instead of doing that, we turned around at 27,500 and have fallen back down to $26,000. But what we could have is some major news. We have a lot of major news that could cause us to crash very, very far, and that's exactly what I want to talk about. But before we do that, I just want to say that even though we have all this news, fear and greed is still at 44. It's a little bit of fear. It has fallen down a little bit since 47, but not as much as you would anticipate. But as you guys can see on the daily time frame, we could still be having our bullish divergence that I was talking about, this bullish divergence. If this is, that's a bullish thing that could happen. So on technical analysis for Bitcoin, what we need to do is confirm support right over here at this level at $26,100. If we manage to confirm support at 26,100, then that could be a rise up. This whole dump right here could be just a ABC correction wave that's on the short-term time frame, because we have perfectly fallen down to the golden pocket, which means if we manage to break above 26,500, we could be seeing a rise all the way to 28,000. That's what could happen on technical analysis. But we have a lot of bullish news, because if you saw some of the news, it looks like Binance could be closing. Let me go up. There's a long-term running investigation by the U.S. Justice Department that might result in Binance and its CEO being charged with crimes. So Binance could be basically melting because of this and paying hefty fines. Scrolling down, let me show you guys what's happening. So there's been a long-running investigation by the U.S. Justice Department that might result in Binance and Zhao, the CEO, being charged with crimes and paying hefty fines. The SEC is suing Binance itself as well, claiming that it engaged in illegal activities in the US and misappropriated consumer funds. But the business claims, Binance says, that the consumer money is safe and that it is committed to compliance, even if it acknowledges prior errors. So even if it has done something in the past, it says that it is complying with all rules and that the money is safe. But despite its global presence, Binance's accessibility has been restricted in many countries, including Europe, where more nations are banning its operations. So Binance is being squeezed, and Binance is a big exchange for Bitcoin. So if we do fall, then this could be a bad thing for Bitcoin. And actually, I'm not going to show this in the video, but actually Binance released a page saying why they should not ban Binance, saying that if you guys do, Bitcoin will crash because it's a very big exchange. Going back on Bitcoin, what's interesting is that we did not react that badly. This fall happened. This is all that happened since we rose to 27,400, which was a 5% crash. And thinking about this, you could see that maybe Bitcoin is not that bearish after all, because even though we saw this bearish news, we have not fallen that much. But if we look at the Binance exchange, there's a very big thing that could happen for Binance. Binance is at the edge, literally, because if you guys look at the Binance crypto coin, you guys can see that we are right over here at $200. What's interesting is that there is no volatility. There's nothing to stop Binance after we fall below $200 until we reach $40. What I'm trying to say is that right now we're at such a big floor, we're at such a big level that if we break 197 points, we will fall down to $40. That's a very big crash for Binance. That would be a 80% crash for Binance. That is saying that if Binance does get negatively affected by this by this lawsuit, we will see us falling below this level. If we do fall below this level, we could see Binance stock going all the way to $45. That is very bearish for Binance. And the question is, will Bitcoin follow that? For now, we're staying at this level. But if we break a little tiny bit farther down, we could fall farther. But the sad thing is that that's not the only bearish news. We have a lot more bearish news. For example, Chase. Chase is announcing its ban on crypto transactions in the UK, which is interesting. They say that scams are starting to rise and they are concerned for their customers. And now, if you try, let me scroll down and say here, this is what a Chase spokesperson said. We've seen an increase in number of crypto scams targeting UK customers, so we have taken the decision to prevent the purchase of crypto assets on a Chase debit card or by transferring money to a crypto site. Customers will receive a declined transaction notification if they do attempt to make a crypto-related transaction. What this means is that if somebody tries to make a transaction that's crypto-related, it will automatically be declined. So Chase is essentially banning crypto for the whole entire UK. That's another bearish news that could happen. Not just that, but the dollar index is also starting to rise up. That's not the dollar index. The dollar index is also starting to rise up. I've been talking about the dollar index for a while, and I was talking about how Bitcoin is actually negatively correlated to the dollar, meaning that if the dollar starts rising up, Bitcoin starts falling down. And this was true for a while. Let me show you guys the Bitcoin chart. You guys can see that when the dollar starts rising up, Bitcoin actually starts to fall down, but Bitcoin usually lags behind. And what's interesting is that the trend is slightly different. Even though the dollar index is rising up consistently, Bitcoin is still trying to push back. We see some bullishness happening. We're trying to push back. We're trying not to follow the dollar anymore. And even though Bitcoin is essentially a hedge against the US dollar. So when the dollar is doing well, Bitcoin does badly. When the dollar index starts rising, that's when Bitcoin does badly. And I was talking about the fact that dollar index was inside of this falling channel and that we could break out of it to the upside. In previous live stream I was talking about this, and I said the fact that if we break above this level, that could be showing a crash for Bitcoin. And that's not the only news for Bitcoin. All those news also contribute to the recent death cross that Bitcoin has done. And what this shows is that technically what Bitcoin could do is start falling down with all the bearish momentum that we see, with all the bearish news that we see. The question is, where is the momentum? Because even though we saw all of this news, all of this bearish news, all Bitcoin did was fall 5%. And what that means is that we could be seeing bullishness in Bitcoin. The bulls could be staying strong. So technically, if we continue to hold this level, if we do not fall below $25,600, we could continue and hold this position. But it's not that long before people realize what's happening in the crypto market. And this is a warning to people to not sell their cryptocurrencies because number one, selling their cryptocurrencies is that they're selling it at the wrong time. If you guys sell it right now, yes, it will fall in the short term if it does fall, but in the long term, this is a very low point. Later, Bitcoin could be at $100,000 and you're wondering why you sold it at $28,000. So, Lutre, it's better for you to keep your money right now than selling it. Now, sadly, this is not the only bearish news, but this does follow something. This does follow the Bitcoin halving cycle. I've been talking about the Bitcoin cycle for a while. If we go on the Bitcoin cycle chart and I turn on the, here you go. If I turn on this uh, Bitcoin halving related curve that shows how close we are to the halving and hide all this excess information that's on the Bitcoin chart, you can see that we are getting closer. If I could make it all rise up, if I can make this chart look correct, there you go. You can see that we are getting closer and closer to the Bitcoin halving that's going to happen in March of 2024. And I've been talking about how Bitcoin is repeating everything it's been doing for a while. Bitcoin has been repeating its whole entire life. it's been showing the same exact things. It's been having the same exact 4-year patterns. And as you guys can see right now, Bitcoin right now is at the beginning of the 4th year. And what this means is that if we look at the previous year, what happened at this last 4 year was crazy falls and rises for Bitcoin before we reached this halving. Let me say the whole entire cycle. In the beginning of this cycle, we see this huge rise up. Bitcoin rises up in the first year to the second year. A couple months after the halving is where the rise starts to happen. But in the middle of in the middle of the second year, that's where the top happens, and that's when we start falling down. Now, the interesting thing is that we fall down around 80%, and people think this is the bottom, and people think that this is when the bull market's going to start. But the interesting thing is that this is not. This is the part where most people get out, not the bear market, this part, this last year, because people survived the bear market. Now they think another bull market's going to happen. So they buy here. They see it rise over here to the middle of the bull market. They buy somewhere over here, and then we crash. And what's interesting is that Bitcoin is basically almost repeating. Of course, Bitcoin never repeats, but it does rhyme. But it's almost repeating what it was doing back over here in 2019. Because Bitcoin, if you look at this, you can see that we rose from $3,000 all the way up to 13,000. But after we rose to 13, we made a double top and fell down. If you grab the Fibonacci retracement and you see how far we fell down, we had bodies that reached all the way down to the 0.78 level and wicks that went below that. And technically, we could be doing the same exact thing right now. We had a bottom and we rose all the way up to this level. We stopped at 16,000 and rose to $30,000, and we have made a double top. If this is the case that we are repeating what we did over here, we should have consolidation like we did last time right over here. But once we break this huge support, we will see a fall down, a confirmation of resistance, and another crash. And the farthest that we could fall is what we did right over here. The farthest that we could fall is we can check by grabbing the Fibonacci retracement and drawing out where we have went. And that means that if we break this level, $25,100, we could see a crash all the way down to around 17,600 maximum. Of course, that's not the target, but I have been talking about this. A lot of people believe that the Bitcoin bull market has started over, but using the Bitcoin halving chart, we can see that maybe this is not the case, like we have been doing for the last 4 years. At this third year, this is the time when most people come out of the market because they think that the bull market's about to happen, but we start rising and falling and having a ton of volatility. And the best thing to do at this time is just hold till a couple months after the halving, which is when the bull market officially starts to happen, when this last leg happens. So the best time to buy is right now. Even if we fall and be volatile in the short term, best time to buy is right now. And that is because if you are a long-term investor and you want to hold, you buy right now and you stop watching until it's around April and May of 2024. Even though we see all this bearish news in the world, long-term shows Bitcoin is super, super strong. So even if we see Bitcoin fall down, which 100%, it's not 100% that we will see Bitcoin fall down to 17,000. But if we break 24,900 and we do see this dump down with all this bearish news that's happening, do not be alarmed because this is just a cycle. There are a couple more indicators that I have found that could be showing more cycles. One of them is the money supply year over year price change. Okay, that's a very big indicator name, but let me explain what it is. So there is a chart called the M2 supply, which what it is basically is showing the circulation. Actually, I think I can pull it up. I'll just grab a random chart and pull it up. There's a chart called the M2 money supply, which is basically the money supply for the US dollar. It shows when money is being printed and how much is in there. Now, here it is. Now, what's interesting is that if you just look at this, it doesn't make sense. If you just look at this, You don't see any pattern that could happen for Bitcoin. But what we look at is not the total money supply. We show the year of how much money is being printed. So if I go over here to this chart and I open up this indicator, you can see the global MTU year-over-year percentage. What this shows is how much money is being printed, taken out of the market, or just nothing's happening. So when you see this huge green bar rising up, that shows that more money is being printed. When you see the decline, that means money is being taken out, or money's being nothing's happening with the money. When it's negative, that's when nothing's happening with that. That means money's being taken out. And what's interesting is that you guys can see that when money is being printed, that's when the pump happens. And the interesting thing is that when money stops being printed, or when money is being printed less, because this doesn't show that money is taken out, this shows that money is being printed less over time. When money is being printed less, that's when the volatility ends, and that's when Bitcoin starts falling down. This is a lagging indicator, which means that Bitcoin won't follow this one-on-one, and this is a long-term indicator, but this could show that Bitcoin is about to enter another bull market in the long term. As you guys can see, last time we had this much bullishness after a huge sell, after a huge dump in the M2 supply, we had a huge pump up. You guys can see that this was the bottom right over here. In 2014, we had the same exact price pattern, and after that we saw this huge rally with the price going up. US was printing money. Bitcoin's a hedge against the dollar, which means that when US is printing money, inflation is going up, which means Bitcoin price is also going up. That's the science behind this indicator. And what that means is that if you guys see that US is about to print money, which we could, because if you guys heard the news, the government could be entering a shutdown, and what the government needs right now is excess money to discuss the problem. And so, if the US government managed to get its hands on money, which they could get by printing money or fractional reserve lending, if they do any of that, that could cause inflation to start rising up because there's more money in the system, which could cause Bitcoin to rise up. So we do not know exactly what's going to happen. The Bitcoin bulls have to hold $25,100. If we break $25,100, that's when you can know that we're going to fall in the short term down to around 17,000, maybe 20,000. But if we manage to hold this, then even though we see all this bearish news like Binance closing, JP Morgan, Chase banning crypto, and so much more, even though we see all that, Bitcoin could still rise up. And I want to show you guys one more thing. I want to show you, if we go on the monthly time frame and I hide this indicator, let's just hide everything actually. I want to go back in time and tell you guys that Septembers generally are bearish, which is very, very interesting. If you go back in time to the September 2022, what happened? September was a bearish month. Of course, it wasn't that big of a bearish dump, but it was a bearish month. And what's interesting is that October followed with a bullish candle. What's before that? September was a bearish month, and was followed by October, which was a bullish candle. Back in time even more, 2018. September was a bearish candle, but this time it was followed by a bearish October candle. Let's go back to 2017. 2017, September was a bearish candle. It was actually a big bearish candle, but that was a wick, and we came back, and the body closed not that much, and after that we saw a very bullish October candle. Going back in time to 2016, let's see what's over here. September. This is where the latest bullish candle in September was, all the way back in 2016, and it was pretty small. Let's see what happens the previous year before that in 2015. In 2015, September was a bullish candle. So after 2016, we have never saw a bullish candle in September, but it was usually followed by a bullish October candle. What this means is that right now, if we fall, we have a chance, a very big chance of falling because of all of this news. But even if we fall, we have this month. This is a cycle. This month shows that we could fall because September is the time when we usually fall. But after that, and after we fall to around 20,000, which, by the way, would follow the Fibonacci retracement pattern, After we fall down to around $21,000, 20,000, this could just be a cycle of the Fibonacci, like I've been talking about for so long. We need this fall. We have not fallen this much in a while. We rose from 15,000 to 30,000, 3/4 of a year. We need a fall. This dump right over here, I talked about this. If we start rising up, we could rise up to around $28,000, but this doesn't mean that we are safe. All of this could mean is that this is an ABC correction wave that could cause us to fall to $20,000. So even if you see Bitcoin start rising up, remember this. Bitcoin needs to confirm support at 25,100. We break that, it's just a fall down to around $20,000, which in the long term is very, very bullish because this fall will show that we have fallen down and have made phase two, wave two of the Fibonacci retracement, and that of the Elliott wave, and that means that next wave will be a bullish wave that will be even farther. This wave, of course, we don't know how far it's going to rise, but we could fall down to around 20,000 or even to $17,000. That's a possibility. Another possibility is that we confirm support on the short-term time frame right now, not react to the news and start rising up. Fear and greed will rise. People will become more bullish, but this will be a fake out because once we reach around the middle point of this Fibonacci, this small Fibonacci, signifying the end of this B wave, we could reach 29,000, and after that we could fall down to around $20,000. What we need to see is a lot of bullish momentum, and we need to break $31,000. Until 31,600, I am continuing to say short-term bullish, long-term super bearish because of all the news that's happening. All we got to watch is the US dollar. That is my analysis for today. I hope you guys enjoy this. Once again, I am sick, so this live stream did not go as well as I wanted to, but I will get better, and I'll continue to post daily videos for you guys. I'll see you in the next video. I'll keep you guys updated. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video.